everybody from beautiful Humboldt, Texas. I am enjoying this beautiful weather here in Texas, and today I want to do my live video on Open Door in Heaven. I cannot believe this is my last one of Sis Myrna Tells All. I will give an announcement at the end of this video, and so today I want to talk on a vision that's one I don't really share, but I do believe God wants, it needs to be shared. We need to share what God does for us, or else why would He give us something? Given you shall be given. Actually, given you shall receive. So I do believe I need to share this with you. Joel 2:28 says, "And it shall come to pass afterward, that I'll pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids, in those days will I pour out my spirit." And so God does give us visions. Many people say we're not visions for then, for the old times, for back then. No, God still gives us visions. God still has open doors for us. And He has doors that He wants to open in heaven for us. But our spiritual eyes, are they watching? Are they waiting for that day to see those heavenly visions? The next verse is in Habakkuk 2:2. I pray that y'all read these verses with me. "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." And God wants us to share the visions we have. Have you ever had a vision? Write it down. Share it with somebody, because who knows? Somebody might need that vision. The next one is in 1 John 4:1. And we might think, oh, I don't need to share that with anybody, or that wasn't from God. And so we need to share it. 1 John 4:1. "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out to the world." We have many false prophets in this day and age. We need to test the spirits and find out, is this truly God? Is this really from God? And the last one is the key verse for my video for today. And it's Revelations 4:1. It was also the key verse to my church camp last year when I had this vision that I'm going to share in a few minutes. And so the key was open door. God's got an open door for us, but are we going to be willing to go through that door? "After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard, it was of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I'll show thee things which might be hereafter." God wants to show us things in heaven. He wants to show us an open door. This past August, I was praying for the church camp. I was praying for the young people, because that's what my church camp is for. We have so many names for it. I love that. And I was praying for the young people. God, do a work in these young people. Help me to be a light to these young people. And God shared with me, He said, if you will obey my voice, I will just obey me this week. I've got something great for you. We need to hear the voice of God, folks. We need to hear that voice. That precious voice wants to speak to us. Do we have our spiritual ears open? Do we have our spiritual eyes open? That's the key question. We need to have them open. And so Tuesday night, it's really windy out here. Tuesday night, we had a church service, and my left foot started to bounce up and down. And I know when that happens, that God's fixing to move. That's just, I don't know why it does that, but each one of us probably have our own way of knowing that God's moving. That's the way I know. Sister Pat was sitting next to me in church. I told her, Sister Pat, you better watch out. I'm either fixing to run, shout, or dance. I don't know what God's about to do. And I love that. I love it when I never know what God's going to do. And so I was, just a second. I'm doing this. And God, that Holy Ghost fell. And I was in the spiritual world. That's what we need to do, is to get out of the flesh. And I kept thinking, oh, this is for the young people. This is not for us old folks. I'm an old fogey by now. I'm 28, yeah, I know. And so I was like, this is for the kids. God's like, get that out of your mind. And so I had to start shutting that flesh down. Shut that flesh down. That's what we got to do, is get that flesh under control. And so I started getting that flesh under control. And God started telling me, look up. Look up. So I looked up. And as I was looking up, and I saw the gate of heaven. And it was open. And just as John said, it was an open door in heaven. That had an open gate in heaven. And so, you might disagree with me on this, but I believe it. And God was, as I was walking through it, I could see the angels all around. It was marvelous. And then it was as I was walking through clouds, and God was revealing to me that was His spirits that I was walking through. Isaiah chapter 61 talks about the 7 different spirits of God. And that's pretty much what it was like. And as I was getting closer to the throne room of God, is the way to put it, God said, kneel down and open your mouth. And so I did. I knelt down, opened my mouth, and He started pouring in the river of life. And that river of life was refilling me, because after a year of preaching on campus, it drains you spiritually, physically, and mentally. And so I needed that refilling. God knew I needed that refilling. And so He started refilling me of what I needed in my life to get out, be ready for the next step of the calling of God. Go back out and preach the gospel on college campuses. And then later in that week, God told me, He says, I've got a good opportunity for you if you just listen to me. And so I obeyed God that entire week. And we need to obey God every day. We need to obey God. To be a Christian, you have to obey God. And so I started obeying, listening to God. We need to listen. Do we have our ears open to hear? Do we have our eyes open to see? That's why God created us, to worship Him. And so I was praying for the trip to Israel in October. I had no idea about this trip until September, October. Yeah, it was late September. Actually, it was late August, I'm sorry. And God said, do you not remember that I told you, if you obey me, I'll give you a great opportunity? And He brought that vision back to mind. I said, okay, God, that's all I needed to know. And I knew that the trip to Israel was God provided. If God, my pastor's famous saying is, if God guided, you'll be God provided. And so I knew God was telling me to go to Israel. And so I'm here to tell you, if you have a feeling that you need to do something, and you know it's God that's telling you to do it, go. Do it. Say whatever you need to say. Don't be scared. Because I'm here to tell you, God wants to use you. But are you going to be willing for Him to use you? Are you going to be willing to use be that vessel for God? I'm going to leave you all with that. And this is my huge announcement. My next live video, I'm going to try to do YouTube and Facebook Live together. So if you're not on, I'm going to upload this video to YouTube. So if you're not on Facebook, but you're on YouTube, I'm going to have both of them do it at the same time. And I'm going to have a question and answer time. Because I cannot believe this is the last video of Sis Myrna Tells All. It's like, where has the time gone? I have enjoyed sharing parts of my testimony with you. And so next week, I want to feel free to ask me any questions. And so I want to find out from my viewers If you have any questions about my story, feel free to comment below. I will answer those questions. So God bless you. I pray that y'all got something out of this. Until next time, question and answers. I will let y'all know when I'll be going live, because my schedule is very crazy. You have a crazy life as a straight campus preacher, trust me. I was hoping and praying I would be going live yesterday, January the 20th, but God had different plans. I was at church most of the day yesterday. And so it's like, that's what we need to know, is have God guiding our lives rather than what we're worried about. Don't schedule your life. Let God schedule it. Let God be there. Brother James Moeller, I pray that God will bless you. Whatever your prayer is, whatever your need is, God be with you. So God bless y'all. Have a wonderful week. Goodbye.